Today, I'm going to show you how to find the best camping tent for fall 2023. Be sure to stay until the end of the video because I'm sure you'll learn something new. What's up everybody, my name is Jack Billing, CEO and founder of Shedknives, and like I said today, we're going into finding the right tent, how to pick it out. This is a comprehensive guide, alright, so we're going into detail. I've got 12 solid points we're going to lay out with a bunch of other things in between. So if you're new to tents, if you're new to camping, or you just want to expand your knowledge on finding the right tent, then this is the video for you. Alright, so let's start with point number one. Number one, understand your needs. What are you trying to achieve? Where are you going? What are you trying to do? Okay, what type of environment are you camping? Okay, what climate? These are all questions you need to know. Also, what's your activity level? Are you hiking 30, 40, 50 miles? Are you climbing up a mountain? What are you doing? Are you just setting up in your backyard? So these are all things to know. A bunch of questions. Yes, I just laid out a ton of questions. All right, but those are all great things to consider because, for example, if we're hiking 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 miles, okay, we need a tent that's going to be light. We'll be able to carry it, and it's probably going to be a smaller tent too, where if we're climbing up a mountain, same thing, we'll probably want a lightweight tent. Maybe we're rock climbing and we're sleeping on the side of a cliff. Well, we're going to need a different tent. If we're camping out in the backyard or we're camping out at a site that we're driving our vehicle up to, then hey, maybe we can go with a larger tent, something more comfortable, something that we don't really care what the tent poles are made out of. So understand that. Number two, tent capacity. How many people are you bringing? A good equation I like to use is take the number on the tent bag of how many people it says it'll fit and divide it by 2. So if you have a 4-person tent, well, it's gonna sleep 2 people comfortably. All right, now some people can argue that, but I have camped hundreds of times. At least I've camped so many times, it's unbelievable. So you can say I know what I'm talking about. But if you like to have no room, then listen to the tent bag. So understand who will be with you, how many people are you camping with, and that's how you can kind of break up the different tent sizes. Also, will you be camping with a cot? A cot is going to take up more space, at least width. It's going to take up a little more, but you can store your stuff under it, so you might actually be saving some room overall. So just keep a few things like that in mind. Alright, so number 3, we have different types of tents. Let's talk about that for a second. So we have a few. We have dome tents, we have cabin tents, we have rooftops, bivy sacks, A-frames, pyramid, pop-up. We have all of these different types of tents, but let's go into the 4 most common tents. All right, let's talk about it. Number 1, dome tents. These are freestanding, they're easy to set up, and they provide pretty good headroom. These are really nice for beginners and just general camping. Number 2, cabin tents. These are pretty tall compared to the other ones. They're very spacious. Just think of a massive rectangle pretty much. And some of them may have room dividers. Next, we have backpacking tents. These are things obviously you'll be hiking with, and they fit in your backpack. They're pretty light, they're compact, they're designed for hikers, backpackers, that sort of thing. So those are typically going to be smaller. And last but not least, number 4, tunnel tents. These are designed for harsh weather, but they have really good strength against wind and snow. So those are the top 4, or at least the most common 4 tents I'd recommend, but there's all sorts of different ones. So just a few ones to pick out. So moving on to number 4, what season are we camping in? If you're camping in the fall, early fall, you're going to look for a summer fall tent. If you're camping late fall, you want a fall winter tent. Now, I don't think, maybe they're making them now, but I don't believe I've seen a just strictly fall tent. It's usually 2 seasons, like spring, summer, summer, fall. So basically they just blend 2 seasons into it. They might have some that are just for fall or summer, but check those out. I'm sure there's plenty you can find online or at a camping store. So it's important to know what season you're camping in, because the worst thing you could probably do is put a summer tent in a winter environment, because summer tents are meant to breathe. They're meant for airflow. They're meant to get rid of that heat. So when you're camping in the winter, well, all your heat is going out the tent. That's what's happening. So you need to have the right season for your tent, because you want to stay the right temperature in your tent as well. So moving on to number 5, let's talk about tent features. There's a few different ones here. Materials, weather resistance, ventilation, and how it sets up. These are all really nice things to look at. Do you want a tent where you just extend the poles, click into place, and pow, you're done? Or do you want it where you have all these different poles and you got to figure out which way these things go? So just a few things like that. Also the material, what type of threading, what type of material, the zipper, all that stuff. So that's really the better material. You start getting into more expensive tents, but it just depends on how serious you want to go. Because if I'm going on a high adventure camping trip, well, obviously I want the best, so I'm going to go find it. So just a few things for consideration there. Number 6, look at tent weight. Look at how you can pack it. One of the most frustrating things of any tent is the bag. Alright, so the bag, I think it lies to you. If you've never set up a tent before, you might not know what I'm saying, but a lot of you, I assume, have been camping. The tent bag is pretty small compared to the tent. And that's where you can either get a larger bag or you just tough it out and get the thing back in there. Now, having a small tent bag can be very helpful when you have limited space. Well, like I said, when you're pulling up to the campsite and you have only 20 feet or 10 feet to set up your tent from your vehicle, it doesn't really matter how big the tent is, but when you're camping where you got to hike to your destination, then it's going to be smart to get a smaller compact bag. Also the tent poles, those are going to be a little bit thinner as well, because it's all about size. Look at your tent stakes as well. You want to take that into consideration, because having larger tent stakes, that's more weight, that's more space. Alright, so number 7, this is an easy one, budget. Just pick your budget. This isn't something I got to go into too much detail with, but just know your budget. Number 8, reviews and recommendations. Before you buy a tent, I encourage you to go check out that tent online. Go look it up. Go look at how it sets up. Go find someone's opinion. Go ask a friend, stuff like that. Because the worst thing you could probably do is get a tent, you think it's great, you bring it out into the field, and then you realize this thing's actually pretty bad. And that will probably happen when you want to go camping too. So that brings me into number 9, which is try before and after you buy. Before you buy, trying the tent out, meaning go check it out. At Cabela's they have like miniature tents. Those are pretty cool. So you can look at those little models. So just kind of inspect it before you buy it if possible. Or if you're buying online, obviously reviews and recommendations, those are going to be helpful. Where if you can buy in person, then hey, check it out beforehand. Then once you get your tent, go out into the field, head into your backyard if possible, and set up that tent just to see how it feels. Get used to it. That's very important to do before heading out into the field. Also, warranty and customer support. This is something a lot of people really don't think about. And as I was writing this up and coming up with the different points, I was thinking having a brand that is supporting of their customers, and something where if you rip a tent and it's not your fault, it's just a bad seam or something, then you need a company that is going to be able to replace that for you, or going to be able to repair that. It's very important to do, or at least to have. So take a look at the warranties, see how that works. Some of them may be pretty simple, like, yep, lifetime warranty, whatever happens, we'll fix it. So once again, very simple. Take a look into that. Number 11, accessories. These are all the little gadgets that come with your tent. Understand what comes with your tent. Do you have to go buy tent stakes? Do you have to go buy the tent poles somewhere else? Do you have to buy a tarp that goes under your tent, or does it come with it? Probably you'll have to buy your own. So just stuff like that. Look at the accessories. The biggest thing to look out for is going to be tent stakes. You got to know, is it coming with tent stakes? Is it not? Because that may be a costly addition depending on the size of your tent. If you have an 18-person tent, that's a lot of tent stakes. And if it doesn't come with them, well, that's a larger cost coming out of your pocket. Okay, so last but not least, number 12, leave no trace / environmental considerations. Understand the impact you have on the environment, where you're camping, and what type of tent you're camping with. If you're going to be camping for a week or longer in a tent, just know that where you're camping, if you're camping on grass, you're probably going to kill the grass. So you're going to have a big square in the middle of nowhere that you killed for several months, if not years, depending on how long you've been there. So just keep that in mind, and just understand the impact that us as humans that we have on the environment. It can be positive, but most of the time it's negative. So just try to lean towards that positive impact on the planet, and do your best to leave no trace after you're done camping. Alright folks, so this brings me to the end of the video, but before we close out here, I just want to say, if you guys like knives, go check out shedknives.com. These are by far the best fixed blades for the price and the quality on the market. These are 100% USA made, 100% USA materials, and they're all made in this beautiful shop right here. So check that out, put it up on the screen, and you can check it out at the link below. If you want to read more into this video, like actually read it, you can go to the Shed Knives blog, where you can look at blog number 45. We'll put a link in the description where you can check that out, and there's a little more detail, there's some other photos, stuff like that. Alright, so as usual, if you found value in this video, hit the like button. If you support 100% USA knife companies, hit that subscribe. And last but not least, my friends, if you know someone who is an outdoor or knife enthusiast, be sure to hit the share button with them. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next.